Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob from all those Jay and Silent Bob type pictures, man. And I'm breaking the silence to tell you that you're listening to the Buff and the Blazer podcast with Drew and Toddo. Enjoy the show, kids.
Hey, Toddo.
What's going on?
We got a podcast, The Buff and the Blazer. If I was a listener, where would I go to find more?
You can check us out on our website, thebuffandtheblazer.com. Drew over there writes a article that goes along with every single episode.
You can find all kinds of little extras on the articles, and you can listen to the podcast right there. Also, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, we're on Twitter at Buff and Blazer. Follow us there.
Get those clicks, people.
The Buff and the Blazer.
Welcome to episode 68 of the Buff and the Blazer podcast, show where we break down, discuss old movies, new movies, everything in between. I'm Drew, and I'm here with my co-host, my buddy, Mr. El Toddo.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Nothing much. Chilling.
Chilling. Yeah, I got the old COVID vaccine on Friday and feeling the effects of it, but I'm coming out the other side, feeling like a new person.
Nice. I got my first one on Friday.
Sweet. Yeah. It's wearing off. Anyways, while that was all going on, we got to sit down and watch a little movie that was released, a new one from...
Do you think how you were feeling colored your mood of this movie?
You know, I never thought of that, and there could be something there. Anyways, we'll talk about it. All right. The film we're discussing this week is Mortal Kombat, and it was a brand new release, another Warner Brothers picture on HBO Max, and it's available for 30 days, so we sat down and made sure we watched it for the podcast. And let's jump right into this film because there's a lot here I think we can talk about. So what did you think of Mortal Kombat 2021?
So, a bit of a mixed bag. So, I played Mortal Kombat a bunch as a kid on Game Gear.
Cool.
That's what I had it on, like the handheld Sega.
Deep cut.
Yeah. And I don't know if any of the backstories of all the characters in the current movie is laid out in the video game or not. I didn't seem to remember any of it.
I don't think so. I kind of want to stop you real quick
confused.
Too. Like real quick, we gotta shout out Sega Game Gear.
Oh, Sega Game Gear was awesome.
How did it get buried and beat by Game Boy? Like it had
I
so
don't
much
know.
going for it, right? So like before we move on, I know we're on a tangent, but like it had a colored screen, it had an illuminated screen, so you could play it in the dark, and I don't know. I just thought it was an awesome system, but then you got the Game Boy that totally took it over. And
yeah, Game Boys seem to have way more longevity. Like
totally,
people are still playing with Game Boys.
Yeah, I know, it's bizarre.
Yeah,
but the
anyway,
Game Gear, love it.
I was a Sega kid all the way.
Gotcha.
You know, I had Genesis and Game Gear and even Dreamcast.
Same.
You know, so
Sweet.
That's where my allegiance lies.
Gotcha.
But anyway, this movie kind of had me confused and kind of had me like second guessing what I really remembered about Mortal Kombat and even the first movie, because I've seen the first movie, but I really don't remember it. But a few things. I really appreciated the gore in this one. It was super gory, just like the game, which I liked. I liked how kind of raunchy it was, even though it probably came across as really cheesy with how like vulgar and you know, how rated R it was.
Yeah.
I did like that, but there were some elements of it that were really cheesy. Mainly the story, you know, and the story in the present, I wasn't terribly invested in. But I liked a lot of the special effects. I loved all the fighting. The music was real hit or miss. It was like really over dramatic at points. So all in all, I was mildly entertained. But I will say this was like obviously the opening movie in a whole new universe of Mortal Kombat, so I kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt with having to kind of fit in so many characters, because I know people are pissed off that certain characters weren't in this one.
Yeah.
But this one is kind of like laying the groundwork for a bunch more movies to come, it seems like.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely correct. Like you, I mean, was familiar with the video game, the originals on Sega, and I also don't really remember a whole lot with story with that game.
Yeah, like was there, I can't even remember if I was playing like a campaign or just like fighting.
Yeah, I just remember the fighting. And I feel like that's what they were focused on at that time, was not so much the story, but like making a good game. But now I'm sure there's dozens of different Mortal Kombats now with all kinds of stories. Yeah, and then I was also kind of a fan of the film too. What was it, 95, I think was the original. Paul W.S. Anderson. And I just loved the character. So like I was a huge fan of Sub-Zero because I thought he just looked really cool and I liked his power. So he was always like one of my favorites. So it was cool to see the new iteration of that character in this film. And I thought it was a little bit of a missed opportunity. And
Okay.
I like your take on it. I like how you're saying that it's like a first step into the world, because they seem like they want to expand the world a little bit, or quite a bit maybe. But I guess I was surprised at how they introduced what seems to be like a really rich history with some of these characters, particularly Scorpion. And I loved how they opened it. So I loved the opening and how they give you sort of this lore with that character. But then it's just kind of like they tease you a little bit with it, and then it kind of goes away for a second, and then you're thrown into like the traditional Mortal Kombat where like they train to fight on this stage, like mortals versus these beings. And it was like a little bit rushed to me and underwhelming at times. But I will say that with Sub-Zero being my favorite character, they really made me fall in love with Scorpion in this film. Like I love the character of Scorpion after watching this movie. And those were probably some of my favorite scenes. So overall, I was a little bit disappointed, like underwhelmed, but I think it has potential if they're going to continue on.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the, I guess, hope in my eyes is, kind of located, because like you, I love Scorpion way more from the video game than Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
But I like both of them a lot.
Right.
And I'm not terribly interested in any of the quote-unquote mortal characters.
Right.
I like all the evil demon type characters.
Yeah, I get you.
And I was under the impression that Scorpion was an evil guy in my memory.
That's what I thought too. I think in the original film he was.
Okay.
He was like part of that crew where like they're pitted against the mortals. I liked how they, at least from what I remember, I don't know if this is like his origin now, but I like how they give this as an origin for Scorpion. Like, I thought that was really interesting. Super cool.
So spoilers, right? Where are we at? We shouldn't give away too much. I mean, I watched it Friday.
No, we won't give away too much, but I think we can comfortably talk about Scorpion because they released like the first 8 minutes of the film online.
Okay.
And that was through HBO. So we can talk about that, and I think I do kind of want to start there because I think that's what was probably the most interesting story beat for me anyway.
Yeah, me too, all the way.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll talk about that, and then we'll kind of go through it a little bit. We'll try to avoid any massive spoilers.
Okay. It's
pretty brand new. So yeah, I want to start with the beginning of the film because I think that's our window in. So we're in Japan, right? This is like 1615 or something like that.
Yeah.
And essentially, we're at the homestead of Scorpion. Hanzo Hasashi is his Japanese name. And so the way they introduce him, right, it's kind of confusing. We don't really know like what's going on, and all of a sudden his home gets raided by Sub-Zero and his crew.
Bihan.
Yeah, Bihan. And his wife and son end up being killed, and he has like a surviving daughter that they hid before they died. And I guess Sub-Zero kills Scorpion, right? This is before he's Scorpion, though, Hanzo Hasashi.
Yeah.
So Bihan takes him out, and he kind of like disintegrates and goes somewhere. And that's kind of the last we see of it. But we do notice that before all that happens, he has the marking on his arm, I think, of what we later come to find out is the marking of people that are chosen to participate in this Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the logo,
guess.
the dragon
Right.
logo.
So you got the dragon, like, tattoo birthmark thing. And so that all happens, and then it kind of just goes away for, like, a good 90% of the film. But there was so much there. Like, it seemed like, first off, that Hanzo Hasashi and Bihan have, like, a history, almost.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a long history there that we don't know about. And it also seems like Bihan has been hunting him for a while, it seems like. And he's almost obsessed with, like, destroying his line, his lineage. And then the story picks up, and then we find, another character that is a descendant of Hanzo Hasashi. So I would have loved if they would have spent a lot more time on that whole lineage, like tracking that. And
yeah, right. Like the movie opens as a total flashback, kind of.
Yeah.
But to flashback even further.
Right.
To show like why Bihan and Hanzo have beef.
Right.
Or like go flashback to the wars between their peoples or whatever, because one's Chinese and the other's Japanese.
Yeah.
And they talk about it a little bit in the movie about exterminating the other people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my point is there's so much time in between that 1615 scene or whatever year it was to the quote-unquote present day that they flash forward to where our main story takes place. It's like you had all that time in there to play with, and they decided to go there with that story. I just thought it was interesting. I mean, I think you could spin this off a million different ways.
Yeah, there's like 500 years in there of Sub-Zero wreaking havoc that I want to see.
Right. And then it kind of just, like, you need the Mortal Kombat part of it where, like, you get the training and the people that are chosen and they try to find their powers and stuff, but it's almost like you don't get an actual tournament. It's sort of like a non-tournament.
It's unofficial.
Right, an unofficial tournament. And then, like, some of these, like, really key characters, like, are really notable characters, end up getting wasted in this non-tournament thing. And I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, wow, these are, like, huge characters. So I thought that was interesting.
So I felt like the beginning was very interesting and very intriguing.
Yeah.
And then right after that, it was like so damn on the nose. It was like...
You mean like this is a video game and we're making a movie about it kind of?
Yeah, like I'm Sonya Blade and this is my backstory, and I'm Kano and this is my backstory. And
yeah.
It just felt like it all was really on the nose, like there wasn't like a lot of mystery to where anything was going as far as storyline goes.
Right.
Like even with Cole Young, like they could have made it a little more mysterious that he's part of Scorpion's lineage.
Right, and it's almost like
and it's like revealed immediately.
Yeah, as soon as you see him,
Yeah.
And I guess that's fine, but
I don't remember Cole in the video game.
I don't either. And
like
I don't know if maybe he's a character from the newer games or if he's just a completely new character, period.
Oh.
Because, I mean, since the original games, there's been a ton of games. Mortal Kombat games.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there's been a bunch. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. And then the other, like, super on the nose thing that kind of bugged me once they started doing it more was the little, like, catchphrases from the video game. Like when Kano's taking out Reptile and he's just like, Kano wins after the end.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. That's
That
cool.
was sweet though with the heart and whatnot.
Okay, there's one spoiler I do want to talk about, okay? So spoiler warning. So we get Reptile in this movie, but we don't get him in the cool getup. We only see him as the Reptile with his, like, acid-eating breath. And then he's, like, taken out like nothing. I was a little let down by that. He was one of the cooler characters from the original movies, too, that I liked a lot. It's all
was
the
he
dudes,
like a Scorpion type character?
Yes.
Like,
So
but
same
with
getup.
green?
Yeah, same exact getup with green.
Oh, that's a bummer. I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, so that's who that character was.
Oh, I was like, oh, it's just some like Godzilla. I didn't even make the connection.
Yeah, so that was Reptile.
Oh,
So I was a little bummed out by that, but again, I have no idea where they're taking this. So you could bring all these people back, no problem, like in the next film, and they would just explain it off. But
you don't even need to explain it off. Like at the end of this movie, when everybody gets like whisked away by the purple fog, you know that it's like, all right, well, their character isn't done. They can come back at any point because they're part of the, what is it called, the Outworld realm.
The Outworld.
And in the video
Something like
game,
that.
it's just you could get your head ripped off and then start a new game. So,
Do you remember Babality?
no,
Babality, when you would like, I don't know if you'd like annihilate the person at the end of the match, but your character would turn into a baby or something.
oh
I was
no,
waiting for them to do that in this movie.
I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't that good at the game.
I was never that good either. Another thing I think it's worth mentioning, and I don't know why it is, but it seems to be the case every single time, is video game films have a hard time, at least critically. Like there hasn't been a video game film that's come out that is universally appreciated by fans and critics and does well at the
disagree.
box office. Which one are you talking about?
Sonic.
Oh, okay.
Everybody loves Sonic.
Okay, that's a good one. That's maybe that's like the, you know what's funny too? There's not a whole lot of talk about that like in the video game film conversation. It's hilarious. But yeah, okay, that's an exception. That's like the one exception, but I'm talking about like Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Resident Evil. They all just kind of fall flat for whatever reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, I guess that's worth mentioning is Sonic, I think, broke that curse.
Yeah.
Sonic's a decent film. It's really good.
Sonic 2 in a year.
Yeah. Have you seen any of the like images of Knuckles that they've been like leaking from the
No.
set? It's fun.
Does
It's
he
just like
look
a
awesome?
cardboard cutout
Oh,
of Knuckles that they're using as a fill-in. Look pretty sweet.
nice.
So going back to the film, we're introduced to Scorpion. I think it's like some of the strongest writing and some of the strongest stuff in the film. Then he kind of goes away for a bit. We get our combat stuff in the middle, and then it's kind of bookended by the Scorpion story again.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't say like how or why or what, but we see him again, and it's probably my favorite part of the whole film.
Yeah, it's my I'm the most invested in his character
Yeah,
of anybody there.
right.
And I was super stoked to see him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's the one character in the whole film that we get to spend, I think, the most time with, at least. Minus maybe Cole Young. Like, we get to see his family life. We get to see the kind of person he is just from, like, the first 8 minutes. And I think with those first 8 minutes, you become really invested.
Yeah.
And I feel like they try and do that with Cole, too, but it's just not the same to me, anyway. But yeah, like I would watch a whole film just on Scorpion, like this version of Scorpion. I thought it was done so well.
Yeah, I would too. And like I said earlier, I want to see the prequel to the opening 8 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
I really don't care much about any of the other characters.
Same.
Besides watching them fighting, and the fighting is cool, but
Right.
if you want like movie, right? If you want like a movie that you're invested in,
Yeah.
those two characters are the ones that I want to see.
Yeah, and well, the other thing too is look at how they market this film. Like if you look at the poster, at least one of the posters, Mortal Kombat, April 23rd, it has like front and center Sub-Zero and Scorpion like split down the middle on the poster. So I think that's like where the heartbeat of the film is, but I feel like they sort of deviate from that once you get towards the middle of the movie. Like you forget about it. And it's almost like there's two storylines going on. There's the one with Scorpion, and then there's the one with the combatants, like in the tournament, in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they try and weave those together and tie them up at the end, but it doesn't really work that way for me, anyway.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's almost like the middle part of the movie is to appease the whole video game crowd.
Right.
With the tournament-esque
Yeah.
type stuff. But like where I'm really intrigued is like the beginning and the end where the storylines lie
Right.
with certain characters.
And I think that's where the meat of the story is. The rest is kind of like, it's that visual action thing that you need with this kind of movie. But I even want to talk about that a little bit because I was kind of underwhelmed with the action part of it.
It was a little too CG.
A little too CG, but I thought the CG actually looked fine. My problem was I thought the powers that the characters had and like ended up discovering were so underwhelming. Like Liu Kang, like take for example Liu Kang, for me anyway. He has this cool power where he like can throw fireballs and stuff. But like the way they show it, he's literally throwing fireballs and they miss like 75% of the time.
Yeah, he's not very accurate.
No, and then when he hits someone, it's like exactly what you'd expect with a fireball. It's like it gets them for a second and then goes off. And I'm like, dude, that's your power? Like, and then they hype up finding this power. They call it arcana or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole thing to like unlock it and discover it. And then once they get it, it's like, that's your power? That's cool. Like Kano's, his laser eye. Like
That's pretty cool.
That's cool. But I was like, all right, that's your power, a laser eye? But then it gets even worse with what's his name? The frisbee hat guy.
Kung Lao.
Kung Lao. Cool character. I liked the actor that played him, and I liked his whole like demeanor and everything. But his power is what, literally to be able to throw his hat around and use it like a saw?
Like a razor blade frisbee.
Yeah. So I guess so, and here's the thing.
But all that stuff's like straight from the video game.
Yeah, I think so.
It is.
The thing I guess is that in an age where you have superhero films and superhero movies, this stuff can come across, I think, as underwhelming if you're just going to go like strict one-for-one adaptation of the video game.
Oh, like you were expecting them to expand on their powers?
Yeah, like I thought maybe they would beef them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a really subjective opinion. I guess you just become, at least for me anyway, someone who watches superhero movies, not video game movies, but like DC films, Marvel films. You're so used to seeing like these overpowered, super godlike beings. Once you get characters like this and they make a big deal of discovering their power and you get it in this form, it's a bit underwhelming, I think.
Okay, I can see that. I kind of like that they stuck with the video game power.
Yeah.
And just kind of kept it to that.
But here's the thing I will give them, though. Like, this does have the R rating, and even with those powers, the consequences of, like, defeating someone in battle come across perfectly because you see that, like, someone's going to get their head bashed in if they're not careful.
There's a whole bunch of cool ways to die. Like Liu Kang, you were just talking about, or Kung Lao, sorry, when he does his table saw, flawless victory.
Right.
You know, it was kind of cheesy that he said flawless victory, but a little table saw action was awesome.
That was awesome. And I love that. So, yeah, there's some really cool use of the R rating in this movie, I think. And it's not, like, overly gory. I think it's just one-for-one what the video games did, too.
Yeah. Yeah, the gore was very closely linked to the video games.
Yeah.
Like pulling a head off with the spine comes with it.
Yeah.
You know, pulling a heart out.
Right.
Getting chopped in half.
I loved the scene where Sub-Zero is battling Jax and he takes his arms off.
Yeah.
Like, that was super good CGI. Like, I thought it looked really good.
How wicked was the fall through the inside of the building after that, too?
Yeah, where he knocks on the side.
Yeah.
Like, it was brutal.
It was like the Titanic dude hitting the propeller.
Yeah.
But way more realistic looking.
Yeah. I think they got the physics down a little better.
Right?
But yeah, so it's a mixed bag for me, but there were parts that I really liked, particularly the beginning and end.
Yeah. Same here. As far as story goes, I feel like they were trying to do too much.
Yeah.
In this one.
And that's the other thing too. I felt like they weren't sure if they wanted to go full on, like, let's do the movie and let's build the universe, or if they were like, let's make one good film. I felt like their foot was halfway in. They weren't sure if they wanted to completely go in the direction of let's build out a world, or if they were like, this may be our only shot, let's do one film.
Yeah, because there's a patience issue, right? So, like, if they would have kept the whole movie kind of in the first 8 minutes, real mysterious kind of style, which seemed really cool.
Yeah.
And there was none of the other characters in it, people would have gone ballistic, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like if they had the balls to just do like a Scorpion Sub-Zero movie.
Right.
And none of the other characters are in it ever.
Yeah.
It's just all backstory, right? I feel like they kind of felt like, okay, we need to lay some groundwork for more universe.
Yeah.
But we need to get all this stuff in there to appease the crowd, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And
Like,
it kind of missed for me in that sense.
Same. Like, if after watching this film, if I would have had say in it, I would have been like, don't even call this film Mortal Kombat. Call it like Scorpion or Sub-Zero. Call it something like that. And stick with that first storyline. And advertise it like the poster right here with Scorpion and Sub-Zero on it. Get that backstory, lay the foundation. And then like the second film, call it Mortal Kombat or something like that. Or even the third film.
Yeah.
And then you get like, you have all that back history and stuff built up towards you get to the point where you have his descendant on screen. And it becomes so much more badass. But like, that's just the state of the audience. We're so impatient. It's like,
Yeah.
We want it all in one movie. We want it now. I get their dilemma, but I totally got that sense where they weren't sure which direction they wanted to go. Like,
Yeah.
where do they commit?
So one last thing about the story. Did you like how Raiden fit in?
Yeah. And I thought Raiden fit in right where he should be. I mean, that's his story, I guess. He's like sort of the protector and overseer of these mortals.
Of
they
the
get called
Earth.
in. And I kind of liked his story better in this one from the original. Because I think,
can't even remember what his story was in the original.
like, I think in the original he still plays that like mentor kind of guy that like tells them what's going on. But in this one I felt like you got to see him like actually step in and show his power.
Yeah.
And like host them in his temple and stuff like that. So I thought that was done really well. And I just thought that you got to see more of Raiden in terms of his power in this movie than the original.
Okay. Definitely need a couple of Raiden movies.
Yeah. Like I said, you could spin off so many different movies with these characters. But yeah, before we move on, let's talk about the ending a little bit. So what did you think of how, like, where they leave off, like right before the credits cut?
It's really on the nose. You know?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm going out to California. I don't know why.
So yeah, I'm going to Hollywood.
And we won't say what it is, but they show the very last frame. It's like, oh, there's Mortal Kombat 2. You know?
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed.
I'm torn. Like, it's super cheesy, and it's like, of course you're going to do that. But at the same time, it's like, I love that you guys are doing this. I want to see it in the second one.
Yeah.
Because he's, you know, it's a pretty key character.
And tease is the right word.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be hard to live up to expectation making a movie like this.
Totally.
So at the end, it's like, okay, dangle this in front of your face for the next one.
And all the studio is concerned about, all they care about, is that this film makes money.
Yeah.
If, like, the interest is shown, regardless of how it does with critics, they're going to make a second one. And so I'm kind of hoping they do make a second one, because I want to see where they can take some of these storylines.
Yeah, take the first 8 minutes and build on that.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, maybe spend more time on backstory for a bunch of the characters.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's more interesting.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't know. Maybe it'll be a Netflix show.
Yeah, maybe. But, like, if they could do Scorpion, I felt like they fleshed him out so well in this movie with, like, 8 minutes. 8 minutes of screen time. You even got to see, like, the origin of his weapon.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So they released that, you said, early?
Yeah, so they released,
And
like,
that's
the first
like the best
8 minutes.
that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
That's quite the bait, to get you in the door.
And you got to give it to him, too. Like, if you wanted to pick an opening scene to get people sucked into your film, that's the scene you give him.
Right?
It's like perfect. But yeah, let's get more of that. All right. Well, let's move into acting and characters for this
Okay.
movie. So I think we kind of gushed a little bit about Scorpion, but who stood out to you, like even besides Scorpion, if we were going to go there immediately, but who like stood out to you? Who were you kind of pleased with in terms of their like live action?
I really liked Sub-Zero.
Okay.
I mean, Scorpion's barely in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I liked him a lot. He was probably my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Joe
his name?
Taslim.
Hiroyuki Sanada. He plays Scorpion, and then Joe Taslim plays Sub-Zero.
Yep.
I liked both of them a lot as far as the acting goes, and Raiden.
Right.
Those were pretty much the only ones that I found somewhat believable.
Okay.
You know, like the ones that are the most mysterious and the most kind of supernatural are the ones that I found believable. All the main characters, like Louis Tan, he plays Cole Young, sorry, and Jessica McNamee,
Yeah.
she plays Sonya Blade. I felt like all of their lines were so cheesy that it was really hard to take them seriously.
There was like a little bit of a camp there.
Oh, dude, a
Um,
little bit.
And I feel like it was the intentional kind. Like they were kind of playing up some of that video game camp.
Okay.
But like McNamee as Sonya Blade, all I remember Sonya being in like the original film was like super hot.
Well, of course.
And I really liked that actress. But I thought Jessica McNamee played a really good Sonya. Like I thought basically what I imagine with Sonya, she pulled through. Like she came across as like my prototypical Sonya Blade.
Okay. I loved her action, like all of her fighting skills.
Yeah.
But like with her and Jax, it was just too cheesy for me.
Yeah.
And Kano.
Kano was another one of my my favorites, I think, because I just loved all his like really awful one-liners.
Well, there's plenty of that in this.
All his like vulgar, like racist little jokes and stuff. And I think he's a dick in the first movie too.
Yeah, that's his kind of
Yeah.
deal.
But some really like good writing with some of his lines that brought some of the humor. But I think for me too, Joe Taslim as Bihan Sub-Zero. I loved how they like gave you the stakes with that character, because you knew that anytime he was on screen you were in danger.
Yeah.
And I loved how like I don't even think he was that powerful in the original film. So I like how he's kind of like this menacing presence anytime he's on screen. Like he's too much to handle for any one character.
Yeah. He's kind of like the super villain.
Yeah. So I thought that was really effective with that character. Trying to go through some of the other ones.
Ludi Lin plays Liu Kang.
Yeah, he was great too. I just
I
wish
don't know about
that
great.
in terms of like the acting.
Yeah, it's just, well, I don't know if it's the acting or if it's just those characters are so cheesy and they're like so cliche
Yeah.
in their dialogue that it's
Oh,
hard
I
for
get
me
you.
to kind of get in there.
I just wish they would have beefed him up a little bit. I really
He
liked
was
Kung Lao.
ripped.
Oh, dude, yeah, he was awesome.
He was super ripped.
I just wish his powers came across a little bit better. He did have his one moment though, with his like fatality blow, and I thought that was awesome. But yeah, I liked Kung Lao a lot too. I thought that actor, he just fit that role really well. Like he was really measured and composed all the time.
Was it Max Huang?
Yeah. So Kung Lao.
What'd you think of Shang Tsung?
Shang Tsung is like, I'm trying to remember who played him in the original. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa. He's like been in all kinds of movies, but
I think I know him and I like him more.
yeah, he did such a
Jin
good
Han
good
in
job.
this.
He was a lot
I
more.
like Jin Han though, but the hair in this was a little threw me off a bit.
Yeah, he was good. He was like he has that other villainous kind of vibe going on with him, but where I thought the original actor that played Shang Tsung was a lot more, he just seemed more menacing and like
That's the exact word I was gonna spit out. Menacing.
whereas this guy seems like he's more of a schemer, less intimidating, I guess. But yeah, I thought overall the acting was fine, and I think like some of the gripes maybe that you're picking out with some of the like the cheese.
Yeah.
That comes straight from the writing, I think.
Yeah. That's where it kind of landed for me. I kind of almost felt bad for some of the actors.
Yeah.
With the lines, but that is what it is. And like on that same token, I love the cheese in the fighting. So I'm just being nitpicky. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, me too. I mean, what else can we do? That's what we do. All right. Well, any last comments on some of these characters?
What'd you think of Goro?
See, Goro was another cool character.
Yeah.
But I think he ended up exactly the way he ended up in the first Mortal Kombat, is like, gone too soon.
Oh, he'll be back.
Yeah. And like they hype him up to be, he's a god, like in this version of the film. I think I don't remember if he's a god in the original story or whatnot, but like.
Well, he's like a boss, right?
Yeah,
Don't
totally.
You have to like beat him at some point.
Yeah, but I love the way he died. Like,
yeah, it was pretty sweet.
He
I
gotta
like that fight scene a lot.
That was a good one.
That felt like a Incredible Hulk style fight scene,
Right.
I've
Like,
never seen any of the Hulk movies, but I imagine that's what the fight scenes are like.
Yeah, a lot more throwing people through buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so going back to Cole Young, did you pick up on what his arcana was?
He had like bronze armor or something, or golden armor.
So,
and that's it.
I guess my understanding
some cool
of
swords that are like backwards.
Yeah.
So he can hold them different ways. I thought his powers were pretty cool.
So it seemed like his armor either just absorbed blows, or it took the power of the blows that it took, and he was able to like transfer it back.
Oh. I just thought it absorbed blows.
Okay. Either way, it was something like that.
But it was kind of cool.
What
was Sonya Blade's power? I can't even remember.
Does she even?
Because she gets it at the end of this movie, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't think we get to see it.
No, she gets it. I promise you. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember seeing she gets the tattoo, like the mark.
Yeah, she gets that, and then the very next scene, she's like got her power.
Damn.
And I forget what it was.
I don't remember. Maybe she just like sprouts machine guns out of her palms or something.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But hey, so the guy that kind of looks like Goro with two arms and the big old mallet.
Yeah.
Do you remember him from the video game?
No.
And then the guy with like the two cool hooked swords and the mask, the gas mask on. Do you remember him?
Oh, I think I may remember that character.
I don't remember either of those two.
But not as well as the other ones.
And the two badass chicks, Nitara and Melina.
Yeah.
I don't remember them from the game.
I don't remember them either. I remember, yeah, Katana was the female character they had in the first movie.
Yeah.
But she wasn't in this. I thought maybe they were like playing on that character. But I'd never heard of any of these other ones. Nitara I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Was she the one with the daggers? Or was it Melina?
Melina had the bat wings and the crazy mouth.
She was kind of like the vampire type character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
she got table sawed.
Yeah.
Which was sweet. Rip cut.
Totally. I thought the use of the like gory special effects were done really well. Like, I don't think it was overly gory. I think that's what you would expect to happen.
I thought it was pretty gory, man, and I liked it.
Well, yeah,
I really liked the slow cut. It happened multiple times where like a dude would get stabbed and like be holding the knife in him, and then it would like slowly start to the guy who had the knife, would start slicing up him. Like, I like that. They did that a few times.
Yeah, that was cool. Anytime someone would be impaled by a dagger or something, I'd always just be like, "Don't take it out. Go to the ER."
Yeah, that's right. Like Hanzo, he shouldn't have taken that dagger out of his shoulder.
Nah.
He could have got to his baby.
Right, yeah.
But he took it out and boom, started bleeding.
Yeah.
Game over.
I loved the fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero when Sub-Zero like slices him and then freezes the blood and uses it as a fucking dagger. It's like, that's cool.
There was a lot of cool this is kind of a good segue into the next spot. You know, the kind of cinematography and the effects and stuff. Because that's where I thought I totally was happy with all of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I thought there wasn't anything that stuck out to me where I was like, that's awful CG. I thought the CG looked fine. And I thought all the powers looked cool too, even if I thought maybe they were like underwhelming, but like Liu Kang's fire, Kano's laser beams, like that all looked really good.
Yeah.
And
I
then
really like the scene when Kano gets his laser beam.
Yeah.
They're just like egging him on, getting him more pissed and more pissed. That was sweet.
At a dinner fight.
But like there's this with fights on the big screen, there's like this weird kind of space between the Keanu John Wick style, like super realistic looking, like they're actually like, you know, fighting each other in long cuts, and then this where there's like tons of CG and the fighting super cut up from like a screen standpoint and a shot standpoint. There's like, I would like a little more of the hand to hand, right? It felt like so many of the fights in this movie went straight to powers. Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of like just good back and forth.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I don't know. It was, I felt like maybe, hold on, I'm just looking up Simon McQuoid, who is the director here. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm on his filmography on IMDb, and this is his first feature. And he did a video short, I think, before that in 2014. So, like, the sense that I got was that the person directing this film wasn't 100% familiar with shooting action yet.
Okay.
And I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying about the action sequences. Because there's some directors that do action incredibly well. Like, one of those guys is Zack Snyder, who directed Watchmen, and he did, you know, Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. But, like, some of the best Batman fighting scenes I've ever seen in live action were in his films. And some directors just have a knack for shooting action and framing it, because it's really hard to frame, right? And, like, in this film, there's a bunch of cuts.
Yeah.
Like, the fights are really cut up. But sometimes directors will just let the camera go, and they'll just turn and follow.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could have helped this movie a bit more if maybe they did some of that. But I think, too, it's kind of just a style thing. Yeah. So I know there's a bunch of directors that do, like, you know, a million cuts in with their fight scenes.
But there was, like, glimpses of it, particularly with Sonya, like in some of her jujitsu and her flipping around and her fighting with Kano.
Yeah.
Like, there was little glimpses of, like, oh, yeah, that's sweet, like, fight choreography. But then most of the fights were like these, every swing is a cut, like really chopped up, particularly like in the temple at the end. There was like a bunch of different fights going on.
Yeah.
And like I liked what was going on in all the fights, but I do want something a little closer to like a John Wick, longer cuts, like actually seeing them fight. You know what I mean?
Right. And like that's Sam Hargrave's style, right? So like even in like Atomic Blonde, the hallway, like the staircase fight, like if you got that sort of style in this film with these characters, I think that'd be badass. Like you just kept it going and have them go through like different areas while they're moving and fighting. I thought that would have been cool, but
there's just like there's so much, right? It's probably really hard to spend that much more time on fight choreography when, you know, people are busting out powers.
Yeah.
And, you know, shooting laser beams and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I guess the argument to be made, though, is that because I think these powers are a little bit more subdued than, like, your typical superhero film, maybe there's more room to do that in a movie like this and have them, like, finish it off.
Yeah, and maybe if they go the route of eventually having, like, a straight tournament, you know, where they have some, like, crazy demon coliseum, you know, in this in-between world, and there's, like, that's what the movie is, right? After they do a couple of background stories and stuff.
Right.
They just have a movie that's like a 2-hour tournament.
Yeah. I think
where
we could
a bunch
get
of them die, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's the tournament to end all tournaments or something. That'd be kind of cool.
And
then
I think
you could really kind of dial in the fights, right?
Yeah. And these characters just discovered their powers too, so I get that.
Yeah, we got to come back to giving them the benefit, right? They're
Right.
laying the groundwork.
Yeah. So we'll see. It really makes me want to see a second one, just because I want to see like what the product becomes once we get through this. Was there
Kind of
any...
like Old Guard,
Yeah.
right? Like the movie itself left a little bit to be desired, I think, but it got me so hyped for what they're gonna do with those characters and those storylines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Kind of feel like that.
Same kind of deal here. Was there like a particular segment or sequence that you liked in the whole movie?
The opening, how like as far as shooting goes, I loved the opening scene.
Okay, yeah.
You know, the one probably most everybody has seen.
Right.
The pretty wicked ninja fight out in the trees out in front of the house like that. I thought that was awesome. There was some cool kind of like rotating shots in that fight scene that I liked a lot.
Yeah.
And then once he starts, using his dagger with a rope on it,
Yeah.
I love that.
That was badass.
What about you? You got like a favorite spot sequence?
I love that one. That's no secret. But then I also love the final battle that we get, like the cherry on top of the cake. Like,
yeah, the cage battle.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll
they're
see.
like in the UFC gym, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the mix of like practical fight choreography with the special effects and CG. I thought that was a cool mix, and it flowed really well together, like showcasing straight up fight and power in one sequence. I thought that was like the best example of that at the end.
Yeah, and the ice everywhere just makes everything so cool.
Yeah, and I have to
it?
give him props for the CG that they use with Sub-Zero on all his like freezing stuff.
Yeah, towards the beginning of the movie when he like is hunting Cole.
Yeah.
When he comes to he's like in the town, in the city, and he like makes it snow and then freezes it all and throws it.
Yeah.
And it's like a freaking assault of ice, dude, like just blowing cars up and shit. I really like that.
And then in the beginning scene, like when they show him like creating the ice in his hand.
Yeah.
When he's in the house, like, I don't know if you noticed, but he's actually bleeding on his hand once the icicles start coming out of his skin. And it like...
So it's like a Wolverine type thing?
I kind of like that because it's not just like, boom, I can make ice and that's my power and I'm like a god. Even though he's already like a god-like character, but it shows that it actually takes some kind of effort for him to produce these things.
There's like a cost.
Yeah, totally. And I love it anytime they do that. But the special effects with Sub-Zero I thought were like some of the best in the movie.
They were better than all the other powers.
Yeah.
For sure. The whole ice game in this movie's awesome, which is why I want to see a Sub-Zero movie.
Yeah. Yeah, really well done. So yeah, definitely a big budget movie. This is a total Warner Brothers picture, so it had the money. Well, let's talk about score a little bit in this movie. So
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either.
I didn't like it. I wanted like heavy metal, the kind of vibe of the old one. Not heavy metal, but just like that electronic kind of upbeat. There was so much like dramatic orchestral music in this. I was just like, wah, wah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it either. Like I think maybe the orchestra stuff fits that opening like Scorpion storyline better. But once you get down to the action and fighting and stuff, I don't want that in there either.
Yeah.
Like with this kind of movie.
Yeah, I don't want to be like suggested to be invested in characters in a movie like this.
Yeah.
Like Cole's whole struggle and his family life and stuff. It's like, I don't want any of that in this movie. I don't need,
Yeah.
Just show me the badass dudes. And if you want to like take a storyline of the badass dudes, not the mortals. I'm not interested in the mortals, And the score just kind of highlighted that for me. It's like it keeps telling me to pay attention and be caring about these characters, and I don't want to. That's what I felt like the score made me do.
Yeah, I thought the score in this movie was just as like cheesy as some of the dialogue. Like, insert evil music here in this cutscene, and that's what you get. It's like insert sad music here in this scene, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
And it's like some films that works fine in, but when you're in a video game movie where like they even know that they're cheesy, you don't need cheesy music to add on top of that either. And I thought it was a little bit too much at times.
I
So
mean,
this
you
is
don't
a-
even get the Mortal Kombat theme until the end,
Yeah, I know, right?
until the credits roll. I was wanting that type, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
I know
right?
exactly what you're talking about. That
I
was
wanted
like on
that.
the radio at times when that movie came out, wasn't it? Like that was all over the place, that theme song,
It's sweet.
from what I remember. But yeah, this is one of I think this is one of the first films in a long time that we've reviewed where I do not like the score. Like it actually stuck out in a bad way to me.
Yeah,
So yeah, really interesting. But yeah, it was kind of a bummer.
kind of a bummer. I
Yeah.
was actually had pretty high hopes for the music in this.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what they do with the next one if there's a next one.
There will be.
Yeah, it seems like there's enough hype with this movie that
I mean, people are stoked on it. I mean, I was really stoked to watch it just because every other movie we've done over the past month is a total bummer downer.
yeah, I'd be curious to see what the numbers are. And like I don't know how they're adjusting numbers right now with like theater closures and stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think the Oscars are tonight, right?
They're tonight, yeah.
Are you going to watch them?
I might put them on. We'll see.
I don't have TV. What channel are they on?
They're usually on ABC, I think.
Mm.
They're at Union Station this year.
Mm.
All right.
Well, love hates. I always go first.
yeah, let's
You go first on love hates.
Okay. Loves. I love Scorpion. I love the Scorpion storyline in this movie. I thought it was the heart and it wanted to be like the soul of this movie, but I don't feel like it was a presence, like a big enough presence throughout the movie. So I loved all of the Scorpion Sub-Zero stuff going on. My hates, I don't really hate anything in this film. I was a little bit let down. Like I was let down by how the story seemed kind of rushed. I felt like they didn't really know what direction they wanted to go in, if they wanted to go full, like one way or the other with the world building, or, a standalone Mortal Kombat film with characters that we like. I just thought it was sort of like in the middle, and it was kind of lukewarm with whatever vision they had. I do hope that we get a second one. And
Yeah.
I want to see this world built out, because I think establishing characters like Scorpion in the way that they did with this film gives me a lot of hope for what they can do. So, yeah, I'm a little bit more optimistic than my disappointment would suggest. And my article is a bit of like a bash, but
That's all right.
I guess I was just expecting a lot more from a film waiting like 26 years later from like the original films. Yeah.
Damn, that makes me feel old.
1995.
Yeah, dude, they got to stick with Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Raiden.
Yeah.
Those are the most interesting characters,
Yeah.
for sure. But
All right.
so, what I loved was I probably loved the CG the most.
Okay, yeah.
Like the ice, and then some of the fight scenes, and like the dagger on the rope.
Yeah.
That was probably the most hyped or the most stoked I was on anything in the movie. Was like seeing the cool kind of CG, and that goes with the gore, right? Because I was
Right.
looking for those kind of fatalities from the video game. So that was my love. And what I hated was that they tried to they teased me so hard with the storyline I want, and tried to spoon feed me this storyline that I'm not interested in at all. Right?
That's a good way of putting it.
I wanted way more of other characters than what I got.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, since I started off with love hates, let's start you off with score
Okay.
or rating.
So for story, I'm going to give them a half
Okay.
because I'm super intrigued of storylines with other characters
Mm-hmm.
in the future. With the characters and stuff, I feel like it was a tough position to be put in for a lot of the actors and
Yeah.
the cheese factor. But I really liked a lot of the villains in this,
Yeah.
and just a lot of like the more supernatural characters. So I'm going to go a half for that as well. Score's not getting it because you didn't give me what I wanted. I wanted that kind of metal electronica stuff. CG, I'm giving him a point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at 2. And then the feels, I'll give him a full point on the feels.
Okay.
Full bong loads. So
Cool.
3 total. 3 bong loads.
Sweet.
Because I'm pretty stoked on the movie, even though I was a little not impressed. But I feel like there's a lot of kind of gold mining to be done in this universe. So I'm like stoked on it. So yeah.
Gotcha.
What about you?
All right, cool. For me, let's see. Story, I'm going to give him a half point because I felt like they had the beginnings of something that could have been a great story. And I get that they're torn between telling that and giving people a video game story from Mortal Kombat. So that's 0.5. I'm going to give them 0.5 on characters because I really loved some of the character development in this movie, but then some of the other stuff was just like completely rushed and like thrown away. So there's a point total. FX, CG, cinematography, I'm going to give them a full point because I thought it was like fantastic. It's like really, really good. Score doesn't get anything from me because I was just I was kind of annoyed at times with the score. So that's not good.
Same here.
So I'm going to give it a 2. Oh, not 2. I'm still at a 2. And then Love Hates, I'm going to give it half because I was underwhelmed, but my half point goes towards like wanting to see more because I'm interested in the world that they've built.
Yeah.
That they're starting to build. So that gives me what? I'm at a 2.5.
Yeah.
So 2.5 buckets of popcorn.
All right.
It's a little lower than I guess maybe what I sound like, but I would like to see a second one, and I think there's potential.
I want to see a whole freaking spin-off, do like 10 individual movies, and then make the giant tournament in the Coliseum style.
Yeah.
Right? That all the other 10 movies build up to the one tournament. That's where I would be looking down maybe not 10 movies, maybe like 3. But I think you can flesh out Sub-Zero, Raiden, and Scorpion, and they can each have their own movie pretty much.
Yeah, just a hypothetical, let me ask you this. Like, let's say tomorrow we find out that they're canceling the Mortal Kombat universe. Like, they're not going to make another one, right?
Yeah.
But they announced that they're doing Scorpion, the movie. So Scorpion with this character. How do you think that would do? Like, after people have seen this film?
Well, how could they be canceling the universe if they do that?
Well, let's say they maybe not so much cancel the universe, but they go away from like the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that.
Do you see there being an excitement around something like that, like a Scorpion as like a film, or an interest in that after people watch this film?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can make 10 Fast and Furious movies, right?
That's true.
I mean, those are god awful.
The next one's set in space.
All right. Cool. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I bet there's a lot more interest in a Scorpion movie. I don't know. I guess those movies do good. They keep making them, but
yeah. No, they're killing
But
it.
Maybe like a series. There's so many streaming services. I almost see this type of universe doing better as a show.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Not because there's so much to fit in a movie in 2 hours,
Yeah.
And because everybody has their own favorite characters, right, from the video game.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to please everybody.
And there's so many of them too.
There's so many. So it's like, how do you develop characters and weave a coherent, kind of crafty, interesting story in 2 hours? Like, I feel like it fits way better as a series on any one of the whatever networks.
It's hard to do. I think the best example of doing something like that is what Marvel did. So, like, to get your Avengers-style movie with all those characters in one film, it took them years to give us, like, an Iron Man film and a Thor film and a Captain America film. Like, every one of those characters got their own movie to flesh them out before they even were assembled in a massive, like, ensemble movie.
Yeah.
And something like this where your whole idea is an ensemble, like Mortal Kombat, and there's so many cool characters, like there's really no other way that you can do it. I think that would benefit every character other than a series. And I think that'd be a great idea for something like this.
Yeah, because it really writes itself.
Yeah.
You can do a 10 episode origin season,
Yeah.
and then the second season is like all of those different characters you introduced in the first season,
Right.
getting brought together in the first 5 episodes, and then the final 5 episodes of the second season is fucking blood and gore tournament, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be awesome.
Or if you want your series to be like every episode is character based.
That's what I mean.
And then if
know
you
what
want
I mean?
your last final product, the Mortal Kombat, to be the movie, once we already are familiar and invested in all the characters,
Yeah.
like that might work too. But
That's what I kind of meant. Like every episode of the first season is a different character story of all of them, you know?
yeah.
So that way kind of everybody gets what they want. And if you do it Netflix style where they release all of it at once, then there'll be less blowback. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the way they ended this one, so we're kind of into spoiler territory a little bit. But the way they ended this one, they're obviously saying there's going to be a second one.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think I'd mentioned earlier that I think the actor playing Bihan, Joe Taslim, I think they were reporting something that he signed on for a 5-picture deal for Mortal Kombat. So it sounds like they're pretty set on having this massive universe.
Yeah, I'm all in either way.
Yeah.
Whether
Same.
it's a series or movies.
Yeah.
I feel like a series gives you more flexibility.
I think so too. But yeah, it's interesting. It's not our call though. We'll see what they do. The big wigs over there at the studio.
No, we're just fans.
Just fans. We just have a podcast about it. But yeah, so any last thoughts? I think we kind of gave our opinions on where you could take something like this.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. And like I would watch this one again just for certain scenes.
Yeah, I would too, for
you
sure.
know, if I'm like doing something around the house, I would pop it on again.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's a pretty easy recommendation from us, right?
Yeah, if you're into Mortal Kombat and you wanna be on the train because there's gonna be more coming, watch it.
Cool. Well, yeah, it's on HBO Max. It's, I think, available for 30 days, and then they pull it, so you don't have a whole lot of time. But yeah, I think it's worth, what was this film at? Almost 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's entertaining enough, I think. And if you're familiar with the characters and some of the games in the early films, I think there's something you can get out of this for sure.
I got one question. I wonder if it's better for people that are very familiar, or is it like all of these backstories? This is the first time we're getting introduced to them, because I have no idea whether they're like fleshed out in the games or whatnot.
I'm not 100% sure myself. I could see maybe the gamers being able to pick out certain like Easter eggs and stuff that, you know, casual fans probably wouldn't pick out. But either way, I think there's something in here for everybody. I think there's the characters for the hardcore gamers, and then there's some cool action and backstory with some of the characters for casual fans.
And it's very adult, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and that makes it a little different than your average video game superhero movie.
It is rated R.
Yeah, so and
Very
they
R.
make use of it too. So
Yeah.
Well, all right, that's all we got for you this week on the Buff and the Blazer. That was episode 68, and we spoke a little bit about Mortal Kombat. It's on HBO Max, so catch it before the 30 days are up, and we hope you all have a good week, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.